off or something, or just like edit that off. But it did kind of like bleed into
That's
the
why
conversation.
I didn't cut it. That's why I didn't cut it off.
It kind of made sense. Kind of made sense, but
your business somewhat
like,
being on there.
Oh my God, we were talking about how he had come over several times, and
The result of
that wasn't what he thought it was going to be. It wasn't what he wanted, and it wasn't going to be.
I think the conversation might have been a little different than that. I think our conversation was the fact that you was wondering why you wasn't getting your call back, and we was talking about why you wasn't getting your call back.
Yeah.
I think that's where we took it.
Yeah, that's what it was.
All right. Is that? Oh, I feel like I'm hitting stuff. Okay, because I got to sit up. So if I'm sitting up,
does it feel awkward?
Yeah, it's always awkward when I have to sit up.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. All right, there we go. That's better.
All right. So I gotta get closer.
Yes, you do. It's always fun to like play the adjustment game. This is the
hard part.
This is the fun part, to make sure the mics aren't in your face, but you can still hear really, really well.
Yeah.
Like this is the part where I'm like, all righty.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing. Okay, so now it just feels like it's in my face.
It is.
Yeah.
Actually.
So let's see if I can fix that. Okay.
Let's see.
Turn without bussing. Don't be bussing. You're not a. There we go.
Okay.
Better.
Yes.
Boom.
Great.
I'm out here.
Perfect.
All right. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. You happy with the quality of mic?
I mean, the mic is miking. Listen, it's not the mic.
I have to say, when I do listen to these, like, a lot of people have been asking me, as soon as they found out, they're like, you talking on something? Where is it? I'm like,
right. I just had that happen a few minutes ago.
I'm like, if to me, it's draining.
Is it?
Yeah.
The questions?
It's draining to like, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I like sharing my message. I hate rehearing it.
Really?
Because sometimes I don't know exactly what I said. So
That's
like,
fair. What did I say?
Yeah, that came out fine, I guess. Right? And then, I still want to be a part of our community.
Yeah.
I still want to, I don't want to offend people. So sometimes it just goes like that. But then, when we get live, I'm like, I don't really care if I offend people. That's the part of me.
I mean, you do care.
Yeah, I care,
Ish.
but I care more about the saving of people than I do my own personal feelings. Does that make sense? So a lot of times later, my own personal feelings kick up. So.
Gotcha.
That's it. No big deal.
Gotcha.
What's up, everybody? Happy. Should we call it Sunday? What's up? What's going on?
Sunday.
It's the day of whatever.
The day, right? Because you don't know what day they're going to see this.
They're going to see this.
Sure.
So I have been mass consuming podcast in an effort to make ours better.
Okay.
Right? So it's so interesting when you consume something new or when you learn something new, how you have to kind of see how that's going to work for you.
Sure.
So that's what I've been doing a lot of. I've been saying, okay, well, we have this. How do we make it work
Absolutely.
for what we want it to be, right?
Yes.
And then how do I tie it into what I'm doing and what this whole space means, right? So
It's a lot.
big picture stuff. Yeah, it doesn't feel like a lot. It feels like just segmented. Right? So like putting the puzzle pieces together, which I get a challenge out of. I like putting the puzzle pieces together.
Okay.
So I would say, we were talking about what we were going to talk about today. And I said, I like to keep things in the flow of whatever happens during the week. So Friday night we saw a breakthrough from one of the members here, something that they were dealing with and were unaware of what was standing in the way of the things that they wanted, right? And the more they were able to share, the more they realized what it was that was holding them back in the first place.
Right.
And then it became a whole new conversation, because then it was like, oh, well, we didn't know that was going on at all, but at the same time, maybe that's the blockage, right? So blocking your blessings.
Blocking your own blessings.
I think that's our conversation for today. Blocking your blessings.
Ooh.
Okay, so let's say, how do you block your blessings? How often do you block your blessings?
More often than I should. And when you say you, define you. Do you mean you as in me? Are you pointing the finger at me? Or are you saying you?
We always use ourselves
in
as the catalyst, right? So
talk about me.
okay, how about
I can talk about it though.
how we block our
How?
blessings? Yeah.
Listen.
Who, what, when, where, why, how?
See, and people don't even realize you spring these things on me, right? Everybody can't sit in this hot seat because we don't know what we're going to even talk about sometimes, and it's just
I didn't know either.
still the topic
That's
because
fair.
yesterday
Okay.
I almost blocked my blessing.
Okay, yeah, I want to hear
You
this
wouldn't
one.
have
Can you
even-
hand me that water right there? I gotta let me
need
get
water?
my whistle wet for this one. Let me get my whistle wet. Go ahead. What you about to say?
Yo, how is it that this happened?
I don't know. Like I said, I just be letting God lead. So
can't
whatever,
make it up.
whatever comes up, comes
You
up.
can't make it up.
So what happened?
All right, so
I'm just gonna drink water.
I'm in the situation where I had a meeting to go to, and meeting starts at 9. Right around 9:20, I wake up out of a deep sleep to all these ping, 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 ping
Uh-oh.
messages,
Uh-oh.
right? And so the
Good or bad?
messages were, I mean, they were good messages, just checking in, you know, because I wasn't at the meeting.
You were like, I don't know why I didn't put together that 9 and 9:20. That does make sense.
I was supposed to be there at 9.
Copy.
Well, and it was a Zoom meeting, right? So I didn't have to leave the house. I had
Yeah.
everything set out, my clothes laid out. I always do that. Like I have to lay out
Get
my
dressed
clothes.
on your Zooms.
Have to.
Don't want to pull a Wayne's brother.
No, I'm saying like I have to prepare my clothing so that I'm not late places, and I'm still late, but that's another show. So I laid everything out. So I hopped up, you know, washed my face and da. But I was late, and I hate being late places.
I think everyone does
Right?
to some degree. Yeah.
It's just
like you don't mind, but you don't like the feeling of being
I don't
late.
like the feeling of being late.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely true.
And I made it, but it kind of like started my day yesterday. And so the meeting after that, I don't know how much I can really tell because I can't really divulge a whole lot about right the details. But let's just say in general, the mental sludge that happened in my brain, right, was you were late, you bring no value, you have nothing to offer, you have nothing to share. Like literally that was my mental space. And so I wasn't gonna go to this second meeting, and I almost really cheated myself out of a great experience.
Okay.
And I really do see that as how I often unconsciously block my own blessings, because what I didn't know was all of the things that I thought I wasn't going to contribute, I contributed. So I didn't think I was going to bring value, but I brought a lot of value.
Yeah, that's fair.
I didn't think that I had anything to add, but I did. You know what I mean? So like I had to get out of my own way and, you know, push past my own thinking, get myself dressed. That meeting was not Zoom.
Okay.
So I had to actually get dressed and be there. And
So 2 meetings for the same thing?
2 different things.
Okay.
But yeah, that second meeting where I had to go and to hop on the expressway, and there was a major jam. I don't know what was happening yesterday, but it was like I could see the exit. But right before the exit was like all these cars back to back, like bumper to bumper, not moving. And I was late. So I literally, although I could see where I needed to go, I had to hop off and circumvent that accident and go all the way around. And I still made it.
Got it.
And I wasn't late.
And
Even
you
though
weren't
I
late.
felt late, I wasn't late.
Fair.
And I got there just when I needed to be. So I don't know, I almost blocked the opportunity to provide value in a space where I really needed to be there, but in my mind, you know, it was small thinking where,
I
they
get
don't
that.
need you.
Yeah.
You don't have to go. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I get that.
I do that.
Yeah, I think everybody kind of does that to some degree, though, right? I always tell people I'm an introvert. No one believes me due to all our stuff that
Right.
we do here and how comfortable and open I am in the space. But I'm a hardcore introvert, right? So if you allow me time to do nothing, I will do absolutely nothing and feel really good
And
about
feel
it.
good.
Yeah. So a lot of the times, I think it's harder for introverts who are thinkers to go out and do, right? Because you will have gone over the idea 6 or 7 times in your head before you even go to do it.
Yes.
Yeah. Whereas my wife would be like, just go out and be like, yeah, whatever. I've had to adopt that mindset in the last couple of years.
Yes.
To be able to do more for myself and for this community.
Correct.
And I would say probably my favorite hating part of what I do is being extroverted.
Really?
Yeah, everyone thinks it's the opposite, but it's not.
So you're an introvert,
Yeah.
hardcore,
Yeah,
but
super
you
hardcore.
like extroverting.
I actually understand the necessity of extroverting.
Okay.
So I like what extroverting brings, but I don't really like being extroverted. Yeah. So most people would meet me and not think that's the case, but like if you would have seen me when we went in Poutine, Le Petite Poutine, shout out to Ronnie. I went in there to go grab some stuff because me and Ashley were having a cozy date night at the house, right? And they were like so talkative and trying to talk to me. I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to talk to everybody. I was like, I'm just gonna go take a walk. So I like took a walk around the block while the food got ready. Just because again, people think it's just this easy thing for me, but I'm like, nah, I'm actually very much so like, nah, I'd rather not talk to people. Like Ronnie's fine, and, you know, I know Ronnie, we have a connection, et cetera, et cetera. But like other people asking me stuff, I'm just like, yeah, it's not really my bag, right? And again, if you get to know me in that space, then I really trust you. Because I'm not introverted around a lot of people like I used to be. Either I'm like super introverted because of the space, or I'm very extroverted. If you get either version, you've gotten to know me a little better.
So, but blocking blessings happens when, like you said, you understand the results of being extroverted, even though it's not, your first go-to. It's not a joy for you, but you could block your blessings if you don't open up and stretch.
You can circumvent the process. Does that make sense? So, okay. So I will say this because I get this a lot. People will say, well, how do you go and talk to people? How do you own a business and you're an introvert? I've actually had that as a question. And I said, just understand what you're doing. If you want to help people, then I have to talk to people to help them. Right? I have to have the skill set of having a conversation and helping people see their own personal potential, and then be able to convey that via whatever we sell. And that's a big part of business in and of itself. But I found this out later. A lot of people I know who are more successful are more introverted than extroverted. Now, the people they hire are extroverted, but them themselves are usually pretty introverted. I can't say across the board. I don't know across the board, but I definitely find that introverts do better with being able to create because of their introvertedness.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what I find all the time. It's very interesting stuff to me. I don't know. Someone should tell me for sure when they see this, if that's the case, like what the studies are, because I don't know. It's really something I've noticed across the board. So.
I think, it's really important to be sure that you don't block what God has for you by staying stuck in what's comfortable to you.
Fair.
I think that's the lesson is, sometimes we sink back into our comfort zone and I don't know, nothing amazing happens there.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
That was part of the talk. Right? That was the talk was a deeper talk. Like I never share names or anything like that, and I try not to get too specific because I don't want people knowing what I'm talking about or looking to talk to someone about what we're talking about. I want people to come in here playing Guess Who, right?
That's not cool.
But at the same time, watching this individual figure it out was interesting, but long overdue, right? And the reason I say it was long overdue was because it was a topic that had come up multiple times.
Yeah.
And this is why I think a lot of times I'll see people, it's almost like, watching someone try to skip the line, if that makes sense. Like let's say receiving abundance was a line full of people, and you're only able to skip the line if you receive the go-ahead, right?
Yep.
I'll watch people step out of the line and then act like they can just walk to the front, right? And what I mean by that, using a specific scenario, but not this one. Let's say you have a friend who wants to lose weight, right? And this friend will say, I'm ready to lose weight. I just got to do it, whatever. And then they're like, it's like, cool, that sounds great. That's a great thing to do. So they start going to the gym, and they just start going on the treadmill, and they just start going on the treadmill every single day. And they just drop the weight. They're eating shakes. They're doing they're doing all the stuff in between.
Okay.
And they lose the weight. They lose let's say 30 pounds in 30 days, right? Make it nice and simple. Depending on if that's male or female, that's really bad. If it's male, it's not as bad. If it's female, that can be really bad. It can be detrimental to your health to lose that much weight in a small amount of time, unless your health is in danger.
Right.
You have no other choice.
Right.
But the part that probably drives me even more nuts about that, or what I'm talking about, has to do with the fact that most people who lose it that way never keep it off.
Right.
Right. And the reason that happens is because, sure, you've done the processes to get there, but the processes aren't sustainable.
Correct.
Right. So when I think of
Quick
blocking,
fix.
right, I think of blocking your blessing, and I can use that analogy actually. It's like patching the hole, not fixing the hole.
Ooh.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can cover that in anything.
Yeah.
Right. Physical, emotional,
Yes.
mental, spiritual. It doesn't matter. I know a ton of people doing patchwork
Oh,
and pretending.
the patchwork.
Yeah, pretending it's not like they're like oh, I'm fine.
Yep.
Right. So when I think about that, and I think about that scenario beginning the thing, I look at all the people in my life and I say, okay, if I'm a conduit, how can I help someone not block their blessing? Right? Like if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, what I'm called here to do, how do I help people not block their blessing? Right? And the hardest part, I think, is just being who I am. And
Consistently.
you would think that would be the easy part.
It's
I think
not.
most people would think that'd be the easy part. No, look, we should do a poll on that. Is it easy to be yourself or hard to be yourself? I think most people would say it's easy, but then realize that when it comes to authenticity, it's extremely difficult. Yeah.
Well, but what makes it difficult? Is it that you're concerned about what people are going to say if you're yourself at all times? I mean, because, that actually is not correct, that it's hard to be yourself, right? You
Yeah.
should be okay with being yourself.
Well, so
Technically.
this is technically, I'm gonna say, I think it's because a lot of people realize that they hide.
Right.
Or they hide versions or pieces of themselves because they don't realize that people are going to accept them. So it's not really, I don't think it has to do with whether or not people will be like, what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say it has to do with the fact that it's not about people it's about people accepting it, but on a subconscious level, right? So for instance, again, individual A, we were having a conversation about earlier, if they're dealing with self-acceptance and self-love, right? Then what's going to happen is they're going to put out that fear, right? And they're also, now when they put out that fear, what does that fear actually look like? That fear usually,
Walls.
Very large,
Not letting you in.
horrible walls that have 3 layers, are double concreted, maybe
And
have
bolted.
steel around them. There's a door, there's 5 combinations on the door. There's a keyhole that has no key, because
Right.
no one knows where it is.
No one's getting in. No one.
And then they're like, but I'm very open to I'm like, all right, that is not the same thing, right? So I would say the hardest part about it is realizing being yourself is okay. So the difficult part is being yourself regardless, and letting that blessing go, because you lose people. You lose friends, you lose family, you lose relationships in general when you decide to be yourself unapologetically, because especially if you haven't been honest, right? Like I can relate to that. I wasn't honest for like the first couple of years of my life. So when I started being honest, all the friends I thought I had started to disappear.
Right.
Right. And then I had to change my circle. And when I changed my circle, it was just me in the circle for a while. Right. You've heard me talk on that before. And then I realized that, oh man, I have to create my own circle. Right. And as I start creating the circle, then I see people go, okay, hey, that's a nice circle you got over there. What you doing over there? Let me see the project on that side. Next thing you know, people want to be involved in all this stuff. But that was, there were years of not being involved. Using person A as my example, I think that they put the walls up with no way in.
Yeah.
And didn't realize that they had done that.
Most people don't realize that the walls are there.
Yeah. Well, that's why we talked about skipping ahead of the line, but also, putting up walls, right? Like, first of all, how do you move to skip ahead of the line inside the walls? It's almost like leaving something precious inside the walls and then walking out and saying, well, this is me, but it's not though, because what you want is behind the walls.
Right.
Right. So like, again, if you want to be healed, right? Let's say you have mental trauma, right?
Yep.
Your mental trauma can only be healed by revisiting what caused the trauma.
Absolutely.
And then talking about it, right? Like, or having some type of discussion. I've heard people say, I can just heal if I talk to God. I was like, talk was the main word in what you said. So I want to make sure that we talk about that stuff. Like, mental health is serious for me and for so many. But look, I'm going to say it. I said this a while back. I said that therapy didn't work for me, right? And I'm talking about going to see a therapist. It did not work for me. One of the things I hear all the time is people say, well, you should have found a better therapist, or you didn't find the right therapist. And I'm like, it's crazy to me. I see a lot of people still talking to their therapists, right? You're not healed. You're not moving past the things, right? You're just coping through them.
Yeah.
So I don't really think it's finding the right therapist, but more finding the right therapy, right? If I have the right therapy, then I will find my ways and methods to heal.
Sure.
So if someone is struggling, then instead of telling them they need to try another version or another person, we should be telling them they should try another version of said therapy. Yeah. Therapy will help you stop blocking your blessings. And I don't mean, again, talking to people is cathartic. I know some people get into art therapy. Shout outs to some of the people I know who do that all the time. I got into yoga to help me with that stuff. I got into working out to get me through that stuff. So whenever someone's saying I'm dealing with something, I'm like, you just need, again, we call them outlets, but outlets can be spaces to create what you need to heal.
Right.
Again, that doesn't mean you're just going to heal by going. You still have to do the work.
You have to do the work.
Right? But maybe quick fixes is exactly the problem you need to break, which is why you've chosen what you've chosen.
And that's the society that we live in, though. We live in a microwave mentality society.
Three tips to do it?
Yeah. People don't want the long version. They want things that are quick and fast. And we typically don't like to wait on. And the work involves a lot of waiting. It involves facing things that we sometimes don't want to face. Those walls are up because, when trauma happens, it's very difficult to look at what has caused that trauma. And then sometimes there's this self-afflicted wound where it's like, okay, I shouldn't have allowed that. I shouldn't have let that be in my life. I should have been better than that. And then that's another level and, a deeper depth to the trauma. So it's easy to get stuck and not deal with it.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, that is a lot of people.
Yeah. There's a quote I really, really love. And the quote says, I shouldn't be mad about the results I didn't get from the work I didn't do. And a lot of times when I see people dealing with things, that's the biggest part. The biggest part is watching people not realize that the healing you're looking for, the wholeness you're looking to fulfill is on the other side of the things you refuse to do. I always laugh. Look, I always laugh when we have ladies in the space and they're like, yeah, we don't want to do upper body, but they're always complaining about their arms. They're always complaining about their shoulders and
backs. I don't know those ladies.
Just in general,
I don't know them.
General, right? It's always interesting to see. Now, I will say, it was, again, it's why I got away from bodybuilding in the first place. Like, I liked working with bodybuilders, but their mentals were so bad.
Wow.
Right? Like, it was crazy how many people, like, their physique was it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? How they looked was it.
Externally.
That was it. There was no, it was, the happiness wasn't there,
Yeah.
the joy wasn't there, at least in the outskirts of it all.
Yeah.
Right? When people are on show day, like, you definitely meet some amazing people in the bodybuilding community. What they do takes very much a lot of consistency,
Lot of
dedication, definitely a lot of discipline. But I found it to be something that didn't allow for people to be people in a lot of different spaces and places. Like, people tied their worth to things that didn't make any sense. Right? And it was all physical.
Wow.
Right? So part of the reason, like, I advocate for people to get into fitness is to heal. But I feel like there are avenues that are just as good in fitness for people to heal in. I think functional training is one of the best spaces. Athletic training is one of the best spaces. But I think if we're going to talk about blocking your blessings, right? The whole thing about blocking your blessings is, again, if you're not doing the work, or if you're not, the thing you don't want to do is the thing you normally need to do.
Gotta do it.
Right? So if your diet's poor, you just need to work on your diet. Right?
But talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay, because the way you just said that was like, oh yeah, you just need to work on your diet. It's no big deal. But it is a big deal for
Right.
a lot of people, and I come from that space where mentally, emotionally, I was stuck. And I was stuck because that was the only way I knew how to celebrate. It was the only go-to that I had. You know, like,
Okay.
I'm not a party person. I don't go hang out. I don't drink a lot. I don't smoke. You know what I mean? Like, there's things that people do that they find joy in.
To celebrate.
And I do none of those things. I go
Fair.
to work. I go to church. Now I go to work out, and I go home. So can I have a cookie?
Yeah.
Can I just have a donut? You know what I mean? And that was my thought process was, yeah, I'm not doing anything else, so I'm just gonna celebrate with this red velvet cake. And I would treat myself. So there was a habit that I had developed that I know I'm not alone out here.
Yeah.
Whereby the celebration surrounded, I was just talking to someone last night at the event where I was.
Okay,
We had
yeah.
soup at this event, and we were talking about comfort food.
Okay.
And how it's that season where, you know, it's a little bit colder, it's the fall.
So
it's
people
like
are making warm food choices.
warm food
Yeah.
choices. You know, the cider that's got a little bit of extra fun in it.
Winter Jack is something I've heard real recently.
I just found out about that
Yeah,
last night. I was
yeah.
like, wait, what is that?
We have some at the house right now.
No way.
Yeah, we do.
You might want to bring some. Let me try it out. No, seriously. I didn't know that's what it was called, but it's
Yeah.
like a little glove.
Client A we talked about brought it up, so I've heard it recently, and I was like, you know, it's been a while since
my
we've had
God.
something like
Client
So,
A will remain nameless.
They will. They'll know who they are if they ever
Okay.
see this,
They'll
but no
know.
one else will know who Client A is. But the
Comfort food. Like,
well,
food
comfort
is
food. Hold on,
love.
wait, celebratory or comfort? And again, let's be
Yes.
very, very clear.
Both.
How often do you celebrate?
How often do I celebrate?
No, just in general.
general?
I think that
I think people
so let
celebrate
me
a lot.
let me phrase it like this. Maybe this will make more sense. If I phrase it like this, hopefully you all get this. Okay. How often you celebrate is what makes it a celebration. If you're just celebrating all the time, then you're not really celebrating anything. Right? And I get it. We live in a society where everyone celebrates. Like, I've watched kids lose, like have the worst season ever, and they still get trophies. And I'm like, there's a side of me that absolutely doesn't like that, right? There is a winner, there is a loser. That's how
For
life
sure.
works.
That's life.
So when we say everybody can win, I relate to that. I understand that, but stop rewarding them for losing. So from a young age, if you're taught that you're rewarded for losing, your actions will follow losing and rewarding yourself.
Oh my.
Right?
That's deep right there.
So think about it. If you're saying, like, and again, this is for all the viewers at home as well. If you're having one cookie a month, not a problem, right? Not a problem.
Every day.
I'm trying to tell you, and it's not one. That's
It's not one.
That's the thing that people really. I wish people would be honest about.
Right.
You could eat a cookie every day. I had a client who ate ice cream every single night and met their goals, lost the weight.
Was it the protein ice
issues.
cream?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it called? I can't think of the name of it.
There's Halo Top.
Halo.
Yeah, there's Halo Top.
Halo Top.
There's
It has
some other ones out
protein in
there.
it.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
But this person gave up the savory. I know it's not good for me.
Okay.
And then decided to do this. Right? They
Ice
decided to get the Halo Top outside of the regular.
Okay.
Now, here's something that happens when you start making choices like that. Halo Top is bigger or smaller than your average average
small.
buy, usually for the
Small.
average person. Most people are buying tubs,
Oh, yeah.
right? So if
Half
you buy
gallon.
a tub, right, I don't even know the sizes anymore.
half
It's so
gallon.
crazy. So half gallon is what we're buying normally, and then what's the smaller one
Pint.
size? Okay, so if we have a pint, right? A pint that costs you like $8.
Oh yes, $8.
You're gonna save the pint for $8 because you don't want to go back. But if you're buying the now again, this is a psychological thing too, right? If I can buy an $8 pint that's good for me, or a $4 half gallon that's bad for me,
trash
most people are going to buy the half gallon.
for sure.
And again, you eat more, you can buy just as much, you can justify it. There's a lot of stuff set out there to tell you to celebrate. So the reason I ask people like, what are you celebrating? is because if you ask yourself what you're celebrating, then you'll make better choices, right? Like, yo, if you celebrating the days of the week, that's trash. Throw it all away. Like, super trash.
That was my life.
Right? Like,
No,
I think
seriously,
so many
though.
people do that though.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think it's not you. It's not just
Okay.
you. Like,
You're trying to make me feel good.
when I told people, you know how many people I told, I was like, yeah, so I'm gonna have like these amazing meals this weekend. I'm gonna eat whatever I want. You've heard the conversations
Yeah.
where I'm like, I'm gonna eat what I want, and they're like, you can do that?
Yeah.
I'm like, why wouldn't you be able to do that? Right? Then I have to make it clear. I'm also very disciplined during the week.
Correct.
I
That's
don't
the
miss
key.
meals. I don't go off the rails because I felt like it. I had a talk me off the ledge moment on Friday, and I contacted my best accountability partner, which is
Okay.
my wife.
Okay.
And then I said, yeah, so if we have cookies tonight, is it cool? She was like, you just saying that because you went Wegmans in the bake session. I'll see you later, bye. Right? And most people would laugh. Most people would be like, yo, she really said? I'd be like, yeah, she really did. But I also made it clear what my goals were. I also made it clear that I wanted to stick to this, and we were doing it together. And she held me accountable. So that
love
way,
it.
yeah, when the time
love it.
came, when it was time to celebrate, we celebrated, right? Unapologetically.
Got it.
Right? But again, we won all week to celebrate on the weekend. If you're eating cookies, how often is the celebration? Right. That's the thing. It's definitely not the cookies themselves
Yeah.
that's causing you to gain weight. They're a proponent in the gaining of weight, right? There's something that you're using and it's helping you gain weight, right? But they're not the problem per se.
Yeah.
It's your consumption of them.
It is.
They could exist on the shelf and you never eat them and they not bother you at all, right? You could bring them home, never open the package, and they not bother you at all.
Yeah.
Right? You could literally open it up, put it on the counter, get an apple, eat the apple, sniff the cookie, and still no problem. Right? It's when you consume the cookie.
For sure.
And then you consume
For
another one, and another one. There's your problem.
Yeah.
So if I had to say again, when it comes to like the fitness game in general, and people want to, they ask that question, it's like, what do we do with our bad eating habits? Well, take the 12-step program for addicts is like normally how I usually approach it for people. It's like, okay, let's first admit that you have a problem. Right? Because there's clearly something going on that's causing you to eat it. Now, it could be emotional eating.
Yeah.
It could be lack of information, right? You don't have the education to understand that you're hurting your diet.
Yeah.
I literally I've been doing this for over a decade. There has never been a person I've met that does not understand the choices they're making are bad.
Well, of course.
right? So like for some reason, we like to pretend we don't know. Like people will come in and they'll be like, I didn't know. I'll be like, you did know
Oh,
that.
yeah, you
right.
know
You knew
that
this was
it's
bad
not-
because you're here.
Yeah.
Right? So when we start to talk about your diet, don't tell me you're going to put it off till next week.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you're not going to write it down.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's these barriers to not talk about the conversation. Literally our whole job is not changing people's diet by force. It's just helping people realize what they're not doing to get what they want.
Yeah.
You tell me you want to look like let's say supermodel B, right? Supermodel B don't eat cookies. She don't. That's right. So if you telling me you want to look
Like
like
none?
supermodel B,
She doesn't
listen,
ever eat cookies?
maybe off season. Maybe off season.
Okay.
Let me be clear, right? There's 4 seasons. Okay. She got to be hot for summer, in spring, and fall. In the winter, maybe not. So if there's
She's
4
off.
seasons for 9 months, she stays on track.
Okay.
For 3 out of a whole year, she enjoys herself. I'm telling you right now, if you live that type of lifestyle, it's completely different than what most people are doing
Yeah.
when they're trying to lose weight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I see cleanses, I see detoxes, I see the list goes on and on. Do they work? Yes, they work. But again, what happens after, right?
Yeah.
After you lose the weight, what happens afterwards? Matter of fact, do you even like the process of losing the weight, right? That's the big one I always see. The big one I always see is that like I'm telling you, ladies will come in here and they're just like cardio. I'm like, you can't just do cardio. Cardio doesn't get you the result you want.
Yeah.
You can't say I want to tone and then do cardio.
Yep.
As we've discussed before, toning is muscle gain and fat loss. Losing weight doesn't necessarily accrue to fat loss or muscle gain, right? It's only revealing the thing, right? If you lose too much weight, you actually lose muscle too. Too much weight too fast, you lose muscle as well.
Which is why the 30 days, like losing a pound a day for 30 days, is
Yeah.
not healthy.
Correct. For the
It's too
average
fast.
person, not at all.
Yeah.
If you have a high body fat, then that's fine. But
Okay.
for the average person, no.
Okay.
Most guys losing that much, like most guys come in, again, you messed up diet, let's say you got a
Yeah.
little bit of stomach, if you detox, you'll lose 15 to 20 pounds in the first 7 to 10 days. A lot of that has to do with the fact that a lot of people have waste in their stomachs. Okay, so that stuff's gotta go.
Yeah.
Do you need to detox to do it? No. No, your body naturally detoxes. That's what you have a liver and a kidney for. Like that's exactly what they do for the body. But if they're so clogged up, nothing's moving around as it should, there's your problem.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, I definitely come from, we've talked about this. My background is we have multiple half gallons. That's why I know the measurements. I'm very familiar. Because so we have, it's like Baskin Robbins. Growing up, you open the freezer and, there might be some chicken, but trust and believe, there's going to be cookies and cream.
Yeah.
And there's going to be butter pecan.
I got you.
So, that was always it was just normal to have dessert all the time. And it was the times that I was a young girl, I can remember being at my grandmother's house and the whole family there, sitting around the table. That was like some of the best memories was around food.
Fair.
It was around food. It involved food. It concerned food. So for me, it became a very bad habit of, almost every meal, including breakfast. I had to have something sweet. And
Got you.
that's why diabetes is high in our community.
Okay. Yep.
And in my family,
That's a fact. Yes.
Heart disease, my family, high blood pressure, my family.
Right.
And so, it just came down to, I got just tired, right? Because there was a long phase of me not really caring. I knew I was making a bad choice. Like
Yeah.
you said, did I know? Yeah, I knew.
Right.
Oh, I knew it wasn't the best choice, but I like food. But I like dessert.
Okay.
Because I'm not a big foodie.
Because I like food.
Right, there's a difference.
I definitely like food.
I'm not a foodie.
I will eat dessert, but I really like food.
Right.
Yeah.
And I like I said, I just had steak because my brother-in-law made steak. And that was the first time I had steak in probably multiple years.
Okay.
No, seriously.
All right.
Like this year.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
was
I remember you
good,
talking about
right?
it. Yeah.
I still remember it. It was that good. It was melt in your mouth good. But like, okay, that steak with some salad is now a way of life for me, where before I would have skipped. I could go all day with no food and just have cookies, cake, and ice cream,
Yeah.
and be full,
Yeah.
you know, and be okay. But I got to a point where I was really tired of the roller coaster, because it's not sustainable. You
That's
know,
fair.
yes, it's
Yeah.
fun, it's great, it's like a temporary high. Sugar is a temporary high.
Yeah, it is.
And then
That's what I was
you
saying. It's
come
not
down
like, it
hard.
definitely is.
You crash
Yeah,
and
you
burn
do.
with sugar, like,
you
because
do.
then you have like the mood swings with it, and all of that. And so
Yeah.
I would do well, and then I'd go back, because I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna always be fat, so forget it. I'm just gonna eat cookies. It's fine. No, whatever.
Yeah.
And that was my attitude. And then I'd be like, okay, no, I need to do better. I don't like how I look, so let me do well. So I'd do well. And then I'd be like, no, this isn't working. After what, 2 weeks? No,
Fair.
it's not working.
It's very fair.
Right?
Yeah, I
2
hear
weeks,
that.
I'd give
I hear
it.
that quite a bit.
Right?
Yeah, I do.
And then, nope, I'm tired of this. Let me go on back, because forget it. It's also why in January our gyms are full.
Yeah.
And then February, March, those same people
Correct.
are
Correct.
gone, because
Yeah.
it's just up and down and up and
Well,
down.
it's a level of commitment that most people don't take serious.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even, because it's funny to me. I know a guy, right? And it's been, I know a guy. It's been probably years since I've spoken to this individual. He was so serious about business. But then I was like, well, how's your fitness journey? And he
Yeah.
goes, yeah, I just do these cards every night.
Cards.
Yeah, like a deck of fitness cards, if you will.
Okay.
Right? And they had all these exercises on it. And that's not necessarily bad, right?
Okay.
But it's not necessarily good either. So I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, man, show me some of your stuff.
Yeah.
And he was showing me, and I was like, there's your problem.
Oh,
Right? Like,
the exercises?
It's not even that's not the exercises. So this is going to sound funny, but anyone who's in fitness is going to agree with me. So you sent me the one video, right?
Oh, yes.
It's never about, again, movements don't change. That's why kinesiologists become trainers and they do well. Movement is movement. It doesn't matter what your body looks like unless there's some type of impingement. Movement is movement.
Yeah.
Right? A squat is a squat, a push-up is a push-up, etc. A pull-up is a pull-up, right? So whenever someone comes in and says, I don't want to do that exercise, it's usually an indication to something. It's just like, so I take that same approach into when I teach nutrition. Okay, so let's say, again, you're struggling, you could eat sweets all day, and then you're like, yeah, and I'm good. And then, the question comes in, were you really good? Right? Like, that's when I ask. I usually ask that question. The reason I ask that question is because you said you were also felt sluggish and sleepy, right? You didn't, your
Moody.
moods, your moods were different, right? Consuming so much sugar actually
Yes.
has an effect on your mood.
For sure.
Why do you think you meet like a vegan guy, like let's say I can name him June, and June's all extra positive,
Yes.
right? Like all the time,
Yeah.
and he's always in deep thought. That's because, this sounds crazy, unless you know, his mind isn't clouded with fog based on what he consumes. So his mind's always running, right?
That's good.
I will go on different, that's why people like keto took off a while back. That's why intermittent fasting took off a while back. It was because we live in a society where people want to eat all the bad stuff and still lose the weight, right? And keto makes that possible. However, what I found, because we did keto in one of our second to last show to help ourselves lean out and be prepared.
Okay.
And it went really, really well.
Did it?
And
Okay.
we did well. Like, I remember I was at a church picnic and I was eating something. I was like, yeah, this is great. And I went home and immediately threw up.
Really?
Immediately threw up. Right? And I was like, oh man, I must have ate something bad or something like that. But then the next day I had a clarity. Like, I was going through a brain fog a little bit.
Okay.
As soon as the fog passed, I had not felt clear in a long time. Okay, we're getting into diet a little bit. I never want to get into diet,
Okay.
but I'm completely fine with it. So ketosis, or the ketogenic diet, is supposed to give a person ketosis, right? Now what happens is that your body is efficient at burning the things you consume. It becomes efficient over time.
Okay.
So what happens in people is we burn the proteins, the carbs, and the fat to create sugars, which allow our bodies to have the energy we need. The better the source, the better the energy, the sugar is for you, and the better it pushes through your body, giving you what you need. So, fun fact, keto removes that process a little bit by changing the main sources. So instead of carbs being a main source for energy, it changes it over to fats. And what ends up happening in that process is your body starts to give off these things or burn these things at a high excess called ketones. Ketones are what help people have higher energy, clear mental fog, things of that nature. So again, keto was a great thing, right? When me and my associate at the time decided to start doing keto, we were looking at it, we were trying to do it the right way, and it was fun. It was like we had a good time doing this dang keto thing.
Well, eating a lot of fat. It's fun.
You know, see, but that's what's wrong, right?
Steak and eggs.
And I'm saying, I was eating steak. We ate some eggs too, but that's not what most people are thinking about when they do it. They're thinking about cheese and they're thinking about like the fats from the ground beef they want to eat and all this other crazy stuff.
Is it like pasta? Is
Pasta does not count. No. There's pasta's a hard carb source.
Okay.
Right, like a simple one, but a very large carb source. So you can't eat over 100 grams of carbs in a day. People don't realize how little that is. If I ate like, let's say pasta, let's go with pasta, right? You couldn't eat like a handful of pasta and not go over 100 carbs, right? So literally, pasta's heavy.
It's heavy.
Like high in calories.
Yeah.
So no, on a keto diet, you can't have things like pasta zero and things of that nature that are made for it. But again, you're buying something you normally would not buy. Right. So again, when me and my partner did this, we did this the right way. I'm going to say the right way. We felt great. Our energies were high. People were like, man, you guys look awesome. Your moods are better. Like even my wife was like, you smell better. Da 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 da. Like it was
better?
crazy. Yeah. So what you eat comes out of your pores.
Oh wow.
Right. So we would meet and take shots of like extra virgin olive oil. So we would clink the and
Which
literally take shots.
Yeah.
It was pretty gross at first.
Yeah.
And then eventually we got used to it. And I was like, man, this is great. We started seeing it pop up in society.
Yeah,
Next thing you know,
everywhere.
we're hearing about keto breath, keto sweat, keto this, keto that. And I'm like, so people are getting bad breath from keto? And I start looking and I'm seeing the sources they're consuming. Got it. It's the sources.
What they're eating.
The sources were the problem. Yeah, everyone wants dairy in their diet to high degrees. I mean, a large part of our obesity rate is based on diet. Yeah, it's our dairy consumption. Gluten and dairy, man.
Oh, yeah.
Killers.
Yeah.
Killers. Probably some of the biggest killers you ever run into, but you can't lock them up.
Well, but what I don't understand is, as far as keto is concerned, because I know I have several friends who have had major success with keto and look great and have kept the weight off for a long time.
Yes.
But like, when I saw them eating, it's just like, oh my God, a plate full of cheese, a plate full of bacon, or like juicy steak and things that you would think are not typically healthy.
Right.
So I don't know how that works for people, but
losing
people it does.
Losing weight isn't necessarily, like losing weight makes people quote unquote look great. Right? But I guarantee you, if I ask some of those same people like how they like their process, did they enjoy it, et cetera, most of them would go no, right? And they got to eat what they wanted, but I should say not the process, but the results, right?
Okay.
So I know 4 women that have lost weight on keto. One of them was completely happy with the results.
Oh,
Okay?
1 out of 4.
1 out of 4, right? Reason being, she lost the weight too fast, or the other ones lost the weight too fast. They didn't work out in the time frame, so like all the loose skin is still there. It's that type of stuff. Like it's stuff like that really bothers people when it comes to losing weight. Right. And again, that's less like you can eat some of the stuff you enjoy, but changing your body requires you to take some of that stuff out. Because again, your body's based on what you consume already.
Sure.
Right. So for it to change, you got to change what you're doing.
Right.
So it's okay.
So do you support keto?
Personally, do I support keto?
Like, do you think that it's a good way to go?
I support keto. I support any diet. Any diet on the planet, I will support. Right? But the problem is for what?
For
what?
So it depends
what are
on
they
what you're
doing?
trying to do.
Right? What are they doing? What do they want? Like if you're just look, there's a candy diet out there.
What?
Yeah, if you're trying to lose weight, you can lose weight on the candy diet.
No.
There's a study out there about a guy who ate candy for 30 days and lost 30 pounds.
Does it involve chocolate?
It does. Anything. Anything.
Okay.
Anything. He
I'm
literally
sold.
ate good. Yeah.
I'm sold.
It's terrible.
Can I start tomorrow?
Terrible. This guy lost weight, but he lost, I think, like not only did he lose weight, he slept most of the days. He had all types of side effects. So while it worked, it didn't make his
not
system any
healthy.
better. Yeah.
It's not healthy.
Yeah. So that's why I tell people like keto's great, done appropriately,
Okay,
done with
the
balance.
right way.
Yeah.
So do you have to also exercise with keto?
You have to exercise with any diet, in my opinion.
Okay, so if you're just eating that way and not getting in the gym, then maybe it's not good.
Yeah, I would
It's not
actually say it's
effective.
based on the sources that you consume. So we all know this. You can have dairy on the keto diet, right? But you shouldn't have more dairy than you normally would on the keto diet.
Okay.
All right. We had those food pyramids. You know, dairy is very small
Right.
on the food pyramid.
Correct.
We should pay attention to that,
Yeah.
right? Bodies respond to dairy by bloating. Bloating is the look most of us don't want.
Yep.
Now, sure, ketosis can help with that bloating process, but it doesn't necessarily remove it. So, for the average person, I would say not without the proper assistance and the knowledge. If you can't count calories already and you're trying to do dieting, then you may not even know what you're consuming or why.
Yeah.
Right? If you're not eating, again, I know a lot of people will say, I don't like to use these tracking apps and all that other stuff. Again, it depends on what they want.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes you can just eat more dense foods. You can eat a bag of Doritos or you can eat 2 whole cantaloupes. Right? You can make a choice.
Yep.
Right? One's way better for you.
Right.
Will help you feel better.
Yep.
Will help your skin clear up.
Yep.
Do everything for you. The other one will have you feeling sick and hungry in an hour.
For
right?
sure.
It's not that they're not and again, about the same calories. That's the crazy part.
Really?
2
2
cantaloupes
cantaloupes?
compared to a small bag of Doritos.
Same amount of calories?
Right? So I'm gonna say right around, I'm gonna say less than 100 off. Yeah.
That's a lot of melon, 2 cantaloupes.
Yeah, most people can't eat 2 cantaloupes.
Yeah, that's a lot. I could probably eat 1.
Yeah, we had this talk about watermelon, right?
Yes.
Yeah, watermelon was the same thing.
I'm very sad that there's pumpkins taking place on watermelon. Very sad.
I just had some pumpkin seeds the other night.
Yeah?
They're great. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
You can keep them.
Yeah, listen, man. It's if I want to be big and strong, I need to eat things like a friend
taste
of mine
like
had.
results.
Yeah, sometimes, right? A friend of mine said it very, very easily, and when he said it, he said, "You are what you eat," right? So, people, if you don't want to look like cupcakes, you don't want to look like Twinkies.
Well, I don't want to
And-
look like a watermelon.
Right?
Let's be clear.
Look, just using the example. If you don't want to look like red velvet cake,
Oh no! Oh no!
you don't want a tire. If you don't want a tire in your body,
Lord.
you might want to stop consuming that stuff. I'd actually be okay with looking like a watermelon. They're pretty solid.
What?
Yeah,
I
they're
don't
pretty
wanna look like a
solid.
watermelon.
If my midsection was just smooth like that. It's but most of us don't. Again, you are what you eat. It's like slices, right? You don't eat a whole watermelon to your
Right.
face.
Right.
So that's how you kind of think
Right.
of them a little bit. But it's interesting. Again, if it's alive, eat it. If it's not, don't. That's my friend's motto. Yeah. And again, it's very simple, right? If you make a list, give me 3 alive foods that you can eat. How do you know it's alive?
If it was moving,
It's not alive anymore. If it was moving, that's dead. What are
Okay,
3
so
things
chicken
that
is
are
not
alive?
alive?
Chicken is not alive.
oh, chicken's dead. Okay.
You are not eating live chicken. Nobody. I don't know too many people doing that one.
Oh no. No, please.
So what's alive?
fruit? Fruit. So apples. I eat a lot of apples these days.
Okay, cool.
You probably noticed this, and you're looking at my diet like, is that what
You
we're
love-
doing?
you love apples.
3 apples a
Yeah.
day?
App-
Okay.
Apples are great.
Apples.
What else?
listen,
What else you got?
Broccoli. I eat a lot of broccoli and spinach. What about mushrooms?
You sounded very sad about the
I
spinach.
mean, because
one.
I'm getting bored with the things that I like sticking to a plan that works
Yeah.
because I don't want to have to go to the grocery store and think.
Yeah.
I just
fair.
want to go get what I need, go home, cook it, eat it. Like, what's working for me, I want to stick with it. But
Yeah.
it's, now I'm at the point where I need some new things.
Cool.
I need
Well,
some ideas.
That's an easy conversation.
help me?
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
super easy conversation.
Yeah, 'cause
most people are just bored.
I'm
Like if you're
bored.
bored, that's fine. You can
bored.
definitely change it up and
Yeah.
still get amazing results. But how you change it up matters, because again,
Mm-hmm.
if you've never cooked healthily before, you're gonna fall back on bad habits. So that's the change.
Mm. Yeah.
Right. So this whole thing of like again, it's okay to want to switch up your meal. Like I literally have a lady, she's always telling me how she's so innovative in like changing
Yeah?
things. And I'm always going like, that's not innovative.
What?
Right? Like
Her
it's-
options?
Yeah, the options are
Okay.
crazy. Right?
Like what? What does she eat?
Let's
turnips.
say no,
Squash.
like no, it's like a meal prep service place,
Oh.
a good bar from here, a Nutri-Grain bar from there. It's a lot of like,
bars.
and the thing is like, I don't like to cook. That's the
Yeah.
thing I'll hear.
Oh.
There's nothing wrong with not wanting to cook,
Mm-hmm.
but again, alive food. Like your plate should definitely consist of, give me 50%.
Yeah.
Eventually over time, give me 70-30.
Okay.
Right? 70-30,
Yeah.
what's alive and what ain't, right? So if I could put it into the ground, what would happen? Would it sprout something, or would it just lay there? Most things I could put,
Gotcha.
if whatever made it can be put into the ground
Yep. And grow.
and grow, it's more than likely alive.
Gotcha.
All right. So again, if you can grow a tree from it,
Mm-hmm.
that's a good way. Tree, bush, whatever. Those are good sources usually.
Okay.
Yeah. So most people need more alive things on their plate. A lot of people are eating a lot of dead things.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because you are what you eat.
Right.
If you are what you eat, I don't
Why do you
wanna
think
eat.
you're so tired when you eat that stuff? Right? You're so tired, lethargic.
Mm-hmm.
Again, your mood fits that of just being irritable
Mm-hmm.
and aggravated. Yeah, because your processes are slowing down to get through the food. So.
This further confirms the fact that if I knew how to cook
Yeah.
vegan meals,
Yeah.
I would 100% go vegan.
Yeah.
100%.
All right. Well, so we have a new goal.
That's a goal?
Yeah, sure,
I
let's
mean,
do
because
it.
I've been having chicken. You see my diet
Yeah.
because I share it, even though I don't want to all the time. And sometimes I forget.
most
but
people
I,
don't.
No?
Yeah,
Okay,
they
so I'm
don't.
not
They
alone.
don't want to. Yeah, they're just
I
like,
didn't
don't
in the
wanna.
beginning. I
Yeah.
fought you really hard.
Yeah.
But I realized I wasn't getting results.
Right.
But I'm learning to actually just take a picture
Mm-hmm.
of what I'm eating. Like yesterday, I was out on the go. I didn't have time to pull up the app and da-da-da. So I took a picture so I could log it later.
Yeah.
But man, I'm just really like, I stick with the same stuff.
Okay.
And so I like spinach. I love broccoli. I love mushrooms. I like carrots.
Yeah.
And I had never tasted hummus before this part of my journey.
Fair.
And I like hummus now.
Yeah. Hummus is fire.
Hummus is good.
Yeah. Well, you know what the sad part is? None of us have had real good vegetable meals. That's why no one thinks they like them.
See?
Like it's
Yeah.
it's weird, right? Like I had a wrap from Be Healthy. I was like, yo, this is bussin', and everybody's like, yeah, this is bad good.
Oh, they have
And I'm
wraps.
like, yeah, they have wraps. They're so simple. They're dumb simple.
And they're good.
Oh my goodness! I actually
try
did we did a video making a wrap like theirs a long time ago.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was like, for the hearty part, I added like mushrooms or something. It was
Yes.
very simple.
I can speak
Yeah,
that language.
yeah. See, you see what I'm saying?
I
It's
love
not.
mushrooms.
It's not hard, and I ate a whole. It was a wrap. Made like 3 of them that day.
And it was vegan.
Yeah, it was all vegan.
Oh,
Yeah.
what I was gonna say was, so the other day I had chicken. I've been having chicken as my protein with the vegetables, and I want to say I kind of feel like bloated a little bit. Like I feel it sitting on my stomach, and so
Not passing well.
I don't like it. I don't like the feeling of chicken, but it's like, okay, I'm probably not gonna. I saw some lamb in the store the other day, and I was like, I could try and make this.
Lamb's
but
pretty good.
Lamb is delicious.
I like lamb.
I don't think I've made lamb myself.
Copy.
I had it out, and I had someone else make it. But I hadn't
Okay,
made it,
got
and
it.
I didn't want a disaster on my hands.
I actually can't say I've ever made lamb.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're getting into digestive
Right.
processes. Okay, so if your body's not hydrated enough and you don't have enough fiber in your diet, you can't pass stuff from your diet, right? The reason, again, there's another thing lacking, right? Most people aren't drinking enough water. I literally, it blows my mind when ladies come in and you're like, I had a bottle of water today, and I'm like, cool, where's the bottle? And then they pull up the little like Dasani, and I'm like, that's it? They're like, yeah. I'm like, that's got to change, right? Like if it doesn't change, it's like, do you have headaches? Oh yeah, now that you mention it, right? You're dehydrated, ma'am.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I'm always hungry. You're dehydrated, right? Like,
is that really a thing?
yeah, 100%.
Come on.
Yeah.
So I drink more water and I'm less hungry.
All week this week, I ate around no earlier than noon, no later than 4 o'clock. All week, from 9 o'clock at night before.
What?
Yeah, I've been fasting every single time you've seen me. Yeah.
I did not know that. Okay.
You can fast, and the body can survive off of a lot of things without a lot of things.